The next important mark of a healthy church is a right understanding of church membership. Now basically, when you look in the Bible, the word church membership isn't necessarily found in the Bible, but it is alluded to. It's alluded to in different letters where Paul's talking about people, where he says, treat this person as an outsider. How are you going to treat him like an outsider if he was never treated like an insider? And there are other things where we talk about, the groups of churches, the gatherings and stuff. All that to say that we need to have a right understanding of church membership. Basically, when someone becomes a member, it's kind of like the church gives that person a stamp of approval of being a Christian. They're kind of like, we confirm that this person is a Christian by the way they live their life, and by the fruit we see in this person's life. The church family is a family, and they're called to get involved in each other's lives, to encourage each other, to know what's going on, to know what they're struggling with, and just to get involved. That's like the bottom line of it. And when a church understands this, then they're not going to be afraid to approach a person and say, why are you in this sin? Or they're not going to be afraid to get involved in somebody's life. Sometimes that's uncomfortable, but that's what we need, and that's what the Bible teaches about church membership. The next important mark of a healthy church is church discipline. Now, church discipline and church membership are really tied together. If you think about it, what the church membership really does is it really circles the people who are the church, or it tries to best circle the people who are the church. And what a church discipline does is it gives rules so that people do not go outside of that circle. So it really adds meaning to what it means to be a church member. Basically, this is what church discipline is. When someone is unrepentant, when someone is living in their sin, when they will not turn away from their sin, that person is unrepentant. And the church is called to discipline this person by excluding them, by setting this person apart from themselves. The guidelines that Jesus gives us in His Word are, if someone sins, especially against you, you go to them, you talk with them about the sin, and if they won't listen to you, then bring one or two other people, talk with them about it, talk about the sin. If they still will not repent from their sin, turn away from their wrong way, then you bring it before the church, and the church will deal with it. And if they still will not listen to the church, then you exclude this person as an outsider. Some people may say, well, you're not supposed to judge people. Jesus told us we're not supposed to judge people, and Jesus did say that, but He was referring to we should not judge people's motives and say, yeah, that person only gave such and such amount of money in the offering plate today because they don't care about Jesus or whatever. No, we're not supposed to judge someone's motives, but we can judge someone by their fruit. We can know them by their fruit. And if they're producing bad fruit, especially if they're sinning, Jesus commands us to respond to that because we love them, because we love God, because we love others. And we are called to stand against sin. So if you think about this, think about it. When we go to the church, we expect that the church is going to tell us how we're to live our life, the good things we're supposed to be doing and stuff. And if the church has the authority to tell us how we are to live, doesn't it also have the authority to tell us how we're not to live? And this is something that a lot of people kind of throw on the back of their minds and don't really think about. But the church really should be setting up guidelines, and when we cross those guidelines, because they love us, they tell us, hey, you're sinning, you need to stop. And that brings me to my final point, that when church discipline is used, it's not just to get rid of the sinner, it's to remove them from the church, but also that this person will turn from their sin and then come back and be restored to the congregation. So I just want to wrap that up. Church discipline, really, it's good for the person who gets disciplined. It's good for the rest of the people in the congregation to see that sin is serious and it does need to be dealt with. It's good for the church as a whole. It's good for the people who see the church on the outside. Think about all the times we hear about, the church is full of hypocrites. If the church was doing a better job of kicking those, disciplining these hypocrites, kicking them out when they're living in unrepentant sin, then the world would see it and realize, that church is serious about sin. It would show the world that we care about sin, and it's just a good example for those on the outside of the church as well. But most importantly, it glorifies God when we do what His Word says. Even though it's hard, it's not always fun to talk about sin with other people and tell them to stop doing it. It's not. But when we're obeying God, when we're doing what He commands us to do, it glorifies Him. So this is another reason why church discipline is an important mark of a healthy church.